So in this video, I'm gonna be telling you about some obscure things that even I didn't know about in the car rental business. So hey guys, it's Peter with Car Rental Coach. If you're looking to scale your car rental fleet or start a car rental fleet, then I want you to make sure you click the subscribe button, click on the little bell, make sure you don't miss any videos. And if you're the type of person where you really wanna scale your business, you're serious about this car rental business, then I want you to go to carrentalcoach.com. There's gonna be a quick 60-second survey. Purpose of this survey is that I actually look at all of them to see what people would be a good fit to work with our business. If you are, then it prompts you to another page where you get to book a call with our team, and if that call goes well, hopefully you can be working with us. So I'm excited to tell you guys that I was with one of our car rental managers the other days, and one of the people that manages our fleet, and he told me a pretty interesting story, which is something that I never ran into myself, but it is something that he ran into, and it's essentially the idea of a biohazard in your car. And I'm like, well, what do you mean a biohazard in your car? What does that mean? I thought it's just like, okay, somebody drinks alcohol in your car, somebody smokes in your car, you take a picture, you say it, typically you get a cleaning fee and it's over and done with, right? And he's like, no, Peter. He's like, this is something different from that. So he tells me, he said this was probably about a month ago, there was a car that came back. And to give you guys a little idea of what this car looked like, apparently the guy was living out of this car, right? So the manager told me, he's like, there's all kinds of bottles and trash and wrappers and just all kinds of stuff that's in this car. And he said he's cleaning it out, whatever. And he said as he's cleaning it, he's on the phone with the Turo rep, specifically saying like, oh yeah, this car's pretty bad. Want to make sure that we get the cleaning fee for it. And the guy's like, well, what exactly is in the car? When I say the guy is in the Turo rep, and my manager tells him, he's like, just bottles, trash. It looks like there's a drug test in here. And the rep's like, whoa, wait, what do you mean a drug test? And he's like, well, just a drug test. And the guy's like, well, the rep says, well, it makes a really big difference to us what kind of drug test that it is. So if you don't mind me asking, like, could you examine it and kind of see what kind of test that it is? So he examines it and he finds out that it's a fentanyl test. And as soon as he tells the rep that, he's like, whoa, do not touch that car anymore. Don't do anything else with that car. And the manager's like, why? Like, what's the issue? Sometimes people take drug tests and it is what it is. And the rep explains to him, he's like, fentanyl is an illegal drug in all 50 states, right? Because you found that test, that means that there could potentially be some fentanyl in that car. That would make the car a biohazard. And here's the crazy thing, when the manager told me this, a biohazard could mean that car can be totaled just if they find any fentanyl in it. Now, it does make sense if you think about it, because it's like you get a whiff of fentanyl and you could die, but it's still wild to me that a completely working car, like you can't even take it and get it detailed and it's okay. Like that's something where you'd have to go through the whole claims process and that car can still be totaled. So I thought that was a pretty interesting thing that I didn't even know about, that I wanted to tell you guys about. And another thing that he was telling me is about improper return fees. Now, I've known about improper return fees before because we've dealt with it in some weird situations. To give you an example, we had a person where they said that they returned the car, but they actually just left it in a random parking lot in the city. That would be considered an improper return. We get a fee for having to go and collect that car, right? So when he said improper return fee, I'm like, oh yeah, that. Like somebody doesn't return it the right way, or they return it at the wrong time, things like that. You get a fee for. And he's like, no, Peter, I'm actually talking about when it comes to the license verification. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know, Turo just added that in where they do it through their system where people send in the license, you click okay, that whole ordeal, right? He's like, no. He's like, and this is something I'm sure that you saw, you just didn't know you could get a fee for it, which is you get somebody that rents your car. The person that is renting your car has to match the name on the license. Okay, we already know that. If that person does not match the name on the license, then they need to add on another person that's going to be driving that vehicle. Now, where you can get this improper return fee, and again, stories are always the easiest way to explain it. The car manager, he was telling me that there was a woman that rented a car and she had it rented out for, it was like 3 or 4 days. Well, when the car comes back, it's a man that's driving the car. And our manager's like, oh, where's so-and-so? Like, she's actually the one that rented it. And he's like, oh, she had something to do today, but I returned the car, and I know that it's a day late, but, sorry, we really had a lot of stuff going on. So the manager tells me that since he wasn't added on that trip and he returned the car, that's another way that you can get an improper return fee. Now, typically what I worry about with that, and the manager actually talking to me, he kind of put my thoughts at ease in reference to this. I'm like, well, wouldn't that be an issue for insurance, right? Like if that guy's riding the car, would Turo still cover it insurance-wise because I didn't make sure that it was that person? He's like, we've dealt with it before. They work with you on stuff like that, because if the renter doesn't tell you that somebody else is going to be driving it, then how else would you know? So yeah, guys, just wanted to tell you those two quick stories. I hope you learned something from it, especially with the biohazard thing. And quick note with the biohazard, it does not account for marijuana or alcohol, but other illegal substances it does account for. So again, if you're super serious about the business, go to carrentalcoach.com, fill out that survey. Would love to hear from you guys.